Hey, good morning. I am coming to you from car cam this morning. I am sitting out the front of my local Aldi in the car park, waiting for it to open. I needed to come into town this morning. We live out of town, so did the trip into town to drop one of my boys off at work and figured I may as well go grocery shopping while I'm here. Unfortunately, Aldi doesn't open for another half an hour, so we are here very early. So I figured while I'm sitting in the car park, why not do a quick wrap up of our July Eat Everything Out of the Freezer challenge and tell you guys how we did. So if you are new to following me, if you've stumbled across this video and we haven't had the chance to hang out before, my name is Nikki. I'm an Aussie mum to 3 kids, and I love sharing all of the tips and tricks that my family have come across that have helped us budget better and live more frugally, save some money, and pay off all of our debt. We paid off $73,000 worth of debt in just 22 months a couple of years ago, and now we live a completely debt-free life. Not even an emergency credit card in sight. So on my channel, I like to share all of the ways that we save and put extra money into our savings account. And a lot of that has to do with food, because food really was one of our biggest expenses and one of the things that we began to rein in early on. And I know how much of a difference that has made to our budget and our family finances. It gave us wiggle room to pay off debt and is now helping us to save towards our savings goals. So, long-winded introduction. Let's have a chat about what we did in July, even though a lot of people have told us that we're probably a little bit crazy. And in all honesty, July may not have been the best month to do a pantry challenge, a freezer challenge for an entire month. But the idea behind it was because I know that I have not cleaned and defrosted my outside freezer for over 12 months, and we were getting to the point where it was completely full, but I had ice growing up and stopping the seal from sealing properly. So one of the things that I've found is that if I maintain our appliances and keep them in as best condition as possible, they run more efficiently, and that saves us money. It also means the appliances are going to last longer, and we're not going to have to make big expensive purchases to replace these any sooner than absolutely necessary. So I really do want to look after and maintain our appliances, but the flip side of that is I live in Victoria. We are in the grips of our second wave of coronavirus, and our state has just entered a new phase of lockdown. So we are in regional Victoria. We've gone into a second phase of stage 3 lockdown, which means there are only 4 reasons to leave your house. One of those is to go grocery shopping, which is what I'm doing today. In Melbourne, they have more tighter, stricter restrictions. So now is probably the time, in all honesty, that we want to have a reasonably decent stockpile of food, not to be at our bare bones minimum, particularly because, like I said earlier, we live out of town, which makes popping down to the grocery store a little bit more difficult than perhaps if you have one within a couple of k's of your home. It is a difficult time to do it, but it is what it is. It needed to be done. We haven't completely wiped out our stockpile of food. We have an inside fridge and freezer, and I've been working diligently on cleaning out the outside freezer so I can get it to a point where I can clean it. It is not completely empty, and we do still have things in our inside freezer as well. Plus we have all of our pantry supplies, which I have been keeping a restock of throughout the month. If you're interested to see the things that I have picked up in our grocery shops, because I have been grocery shopping, it is not a completely pantry challenge that we've done or a no spend month that we've done or anything like that. I have been keeping our pantry supplies up to to date, so to speak. I haven't completely eaten those down, but what I have been focusing on is that outside freezer so that I can clean it. And the interesting thing in doing that was that meant that I didn't need to buy a lot of meat, or any meat really, and I tried really hard to not buy any marked down meat, which is normally how I buy our meat. I try very hard not to pay full price for our meat, and it's one of the ways that we save money. So over the course of July, we actually saved almost $260 from our $600 grocery allocation. So that's pretty good. We spent a little bit over half, which is not bad considering I fed a family of 5 for an entire month, just keeping up to date with the day-to-day things that we need, like milk and cereal and bread, fresh fruit and veggies, and then keeping our pantry stockpile up to date with the things that we use regularly. So that was the plan. That's awesome. That meant we had $260 to put straight into savings, which is a great way to boost our savings simply by eating the things that we already had in our fridge, freezer, and pantry. Sounds pretty awesome, doesn't it? But now I'm in a situation where our outside freezer is almost completely empty. There are still a few things in there. I'm at a position now where I can just put those into a couple of cold bags and go and clean that out, and sanitize it, and then start filling it up again. Unfortunately, here in Victoria, we are in a bit of a situation where that may be a little bit difficult because of the new restrictions that have been announced yesterday by our Premier. And I'm not sure how this is going to unfold. What I do know is that the people who work in our meat packing industries are being required to drop down their production. So they will still be able to produce and not export because it's in our state, but there'll still be meat on the shelf at the supermarket, but I know that the production of that and the hours and the people who work in those industries are going to not be working as much as what they do, which I think two things is going to happen. I think one, we are going to see that there isn't as much of those products on the shelves over the coming weeks, which means I'm likely not going to get those marked down prices because supermarkets won't be running out of stock and marking them down because they're becoming short dated. The other thing that we may see, and I don't know, this is just a Nikki prediction, but we may actually even see an increase in price for meat products because of limited supply. So was July the best time to do an eat everything out of the freezer challenge? I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know. It is what it is. It needed to be done. We are no worse off than the majority of Victorians as it is because, like I said, I have been running that stockpile of meat with markdowns. Either way, the food needed to be eaten. So whether it was done in July or whether it was done in August this month, just simply because the supply of meat was difficult. I mean, it's not much of a difference. It was going to happen either way. So, let's jump in and have a look and see where we started the month, and we'll just do a little bit of a flashback montage to see where we began and see where we have ended up. Alright, so that is our ice encased freezer that I really need to defrost. So as you can see, we still have quite a bit of stuff in here to use up. Some of that turkey mince that Shan picked up the other week for me, down to $1.68. So I've got a couple of those still left to use. These little packets of salami are great to put on homemade pizzas and in homemade scrolls and things like that. So we've still got a couple of those left as well. We grabbed those a couple of weeks ago, which has been fantastic to have in the freezer. couple of loaves of bread still left over. And if I see bread that is half price, I'm going to grab it because it is something that we use all the time. We've still got some fancy sausages to use up. We have managed to use up a few of the pizzas that I bought in that massive pizza haul. But as you can see, whoops, losing everything. Still got quite a few pizzas there to use. If we keep digging down, we've got some steaks. I've got a butterflied chicken. It's just, this thing just goes on and on. The other day, Shan picked up these out of his splash cash. So if you are wondering, stuff like this is what we buy out of our splash cash. This does not actually come out of our grocery allowance because really it's a treat. We use the grocery allowance just to buy food for our family. So if you're seeing things in my freezer like ice creams, iced coffees, all of these sorts of things, that's because we've bought these out of our splash cash, which is part of what we use our splash cash for. So let's have a quick dig on this side. I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom because this thing's just falling in on me and I'm going to end up losing an arm. But frozen veggies, I will grab these when I see them marked down, particularly this is 80% off, and so I'll use things like broccoli and cauliflower rice or cauliflower rice in any of those casserole or stewy type dishes, spaghetti bolognese, chili con carne, anything like that where I can hide sneaky vegetables, but also they help not only fill out the dish, but add extra nutrients to it and masks the fact that there isn't necessarily a whole lot of meat in these dishes. There's lots of veggies, and if you fry up the cauliflower in some beef stock cubes or something like that, it tastes really nice. So yeah, you'll see lots of those because I grab them whenever they are ridiculously cheap. Another thing I've grabbed is packets of meat that I've bought marked down, and sometimes I will put them in Ziploc containers to try and make more room, but that would have all been marked down meat. It's all stickers. Everything that is out here has a sticker on it. I have a problem with stickers, and this is what we need to use up. We need to get to the bottom of this, guys, so that we can clean this ice, because look at that. It's going to start growing out of the freezer soon if I'm not careful. So that is July's challenge. Eat the freezer. Right, we are coming to the end of our Eat Everything Out of the Freezer challenge for July, and this is now what we're left with. So I'm going to have a poke around in here and see what meals we can come up with for the next week. We do have 3 pizzas left, so we can definitely do a pizza night. So that is one meal. I have a split chicken that I can do something with, and we've got some veggies. So there's another one. Looking down here, the chicken breast, I could easily put that with some rice and at least make a lunch for perhaps Shannon and I. With some rice and some vegetables, it's definitely enough for 2 people for a meal. I still have quite a few of these cauliflower rice or cauliflower and broccoli rices that I love to throw in things like spaghetti bolognese, chili, casseroles, any of those sorts of things, and fill them out a little bit more with some sneaky veggies. So I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those that I can add to some extra meals. If we dig down a little bit further, we actually have some lamb shanks in here, which is really exciting. They're right down the bottom of the freezer. So there's a meal there with the lamb shanks. I have one single peppered steak. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. We'll find something. Might end up cooking that up and putting that in some wraps for lunch. And that's a great way, when you end up just with single bits and pieces, like I'll often end up with a peppered steak or one piece of fish. We'll often cook that up and put that in a wrap and split it between 2 people or maybe even 3 and turn it into lunch. And wraps are fantastic for that. Shen still has a bunch of these marked down iced coffees that he picked up. They will probably stay out here in the freezer. If we dig a little bit deeper over in this corner, what we have here is 3 marked down turduckens that we picked up at Christmas time, and we have put them aside for family roast nights and things like that. So they won't get used up this month, but I'm at the point where I can pull these things out, clean the freezer, and then put them back in and reorganize, and it's okay. And we have 3 packets of the salami mixed salami packets left. I can use them on pizzas if we're doing homemade pizzas. Put them in something like a Spanish rice to give it a little bit of flavor. And one of these packets will do a full meal. So we could do a pizza, we could do a Spanish rice, and I could even make something like some scrolls with ham and cheese and salami in them for lunches and bake those up and use those 3 up. And then right down the bottom, which is hard to see because it is hidden under a turducken, we have 2 packets of chicken drumsticks. So there's another 2 meals there that we can pull together this week. So most definitely we have enough to get us through another couple of days. We will definitely see through the end of this week without having to buy any meat. And then we can start cleaning, defrosting, putting a few things back in the freezer, but then we can start filling it with goodies all over again. All right, it is Operation Freezer clean out time. So what I've done is I took out the few bits and pieces that were left in the freezer. I've just put them into a couple of freezer bags just to keep everything cold and frozen. It is also a really cold day here today, so we are outside. But I don't know the exact temperature, but it is brisk out here, guys. It is cold. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to de-ice all of this. I have turned the freezer off for probably half an hour while I do this. I'm going to de-ice all of this, and then I'm going to get in and clean all of these. Oops, too far. All of these seals, which are absolutely disgusting. And freshen this freezer up so that it's in good condition, because it's important to look after this, because this is where we keep all of our bargains, and if this stops working, then we've wasted hundreds of dollars when this thing is full. And it's full most of the time, which is why it doesn't get cleaned out. So middle of winter, it's cold. It's a good opportunity for us to get in to clean this out, to empty it out, freshen it up, and keep this very important member of our family in tip-top condition and working well. Alright, I have freezing hands, but phase 1 is complete. You see how much ice is down there. I'm going to go and get a bucket and scoop all of that out, and I'm going to come back with some disinfectant and wipe all of this over and clean it up. Alright, well that is my really big plastic container, which is completely full. Let me take this over to the table. Alright, well that'll give you a bit of an idea of just how much ice was built up on the inside of the freezer. That's full. I don't know how big this plastic salad bowl is. It's the biggest one that I have, and it's full of ice. So as you can probably tell, that was well and truly overdue to be done. Right, so I have now finished cleaning the inside of the freezer. I just used a homemade cleaner that is simply just vinegar and soaked in citrus peel, so oranges and lemons. It's going to help get some of the freezer smell out of the freezer. You know how freezers just tend to smell a little bit after a while. Plus it's going to clean it out, wipe it down, and now we get to start again. So there she is, all sparkly and clean. All the ice is gone, it's all wiped down. I've cleaned all of the seals, got all the dust, and there's a little bit of mold in there as well. It's mostly dust because it is outside and we live on a dirt road, so do get a bit of a dust build-up out here, but this is all sparkly clean and ready to go again. Now what I will do is, because I've actually had the freezer off for the last half an hour or so while I've been defrosting this, and I've had the food that's left over in freezer bags, like shopping bags, insulated bags, that's the word I'm looking for, insulated shopping bags. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them back into the freezer in their insulated shopping bags, and then I'm going to turn the freezer back on again. And there's two reasons why I'm doing this. One, the hardest thing for your freezer to, or fridge, to cool is air. So if I just turn this on and leave it for a couple of hours, just cooling down before I put the food back in there, it's going to take more energy. It's going to take longer for it to actually cool down with just air in there. So if I can fill that up, fill up a bit of the air, then it's actually going to reduce the cost in cooling the freezer back down, although it's pretty cold. I did check, it's 7 degrees outside right now, so it's not gonna take too much. But by putting the food back in the insulated bags, that's going to protect them, so they're going to stay frozen, they're going to stay really cold, they're not going to lose any of the cold that's been trapped in the insulated bag with them. Then once the freezer has cooled back down, then I'll take the food out of the insulated bags and just put them back in the freezer. At that point, I am going to do an inventory of all the food that is left out here. I'm not going to do that now because the freezer's been off and the food's been out for long enough while I've been cleaning it and making this video for you guys. So it's been over half an hour. It's been about probably closer to 45 minutes now. So I'm going to get that stuff back into the freezer, close it, turn the freezer back on, and then later on tonight, it's about lunchtime now, so closer to dinner time, I'm going to come back and I'll take the food out of the insulated bags and leave them in the freezer and do a quick little inventory when I do that. Won't take me too long because there isn't too much to go back in. So let's finish this job off and tick off our to-do list for cleaning out the freezer in July, even though it's August. But we got there. It's close enough. It's close enough. We pretty much got there.
If you are interested in checking out the meals that we pulled together and the the grocery hauls that I did throughout the month of July and the meals that I made, I have videos for all of those up in my channel. I'm really struggling with that word today. Channel. It is on my channel. Why does that sound weird? Channel. I don't know. Because it's too early for anybody to be up, that's why. So all of those videos are up on my channel. You can go and check them out. You can see what I was buying, what I was replenishing, and you can see the meals that I was pulling together. There are some cook with me segments where you can follow along and try and
and cook the way that I do, which is predominantly without a recipe, which makes things really difficult. But some fun little videos there, and you can see how we're using up all the things that we have and really trying to be conscious about not letting things go to waste. I do think that that is one of the biggest things that eat into our grocery budgets, into our finances, is food, and in particular being wasteful with food, letting things turn yucky in the crisper and just throwing them out, or buying things, sticking them on our pantry shelf and then forgetting about them and not using them, because essentially it is just a waste of money if it's just going to sit there and go bad or go out of date or go past its best before date and be thrown out and not be used. So that is one of the things that we do. One of the reasons why we like to do these pantry challenges on a fairly regular basis is to make sure that we are using up everything that we've purchased and getting the most bang for our buck by doing that. We're not saving any money if we buy up big on things that are on special and never use them. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope that Aldi opens very shortly. I can see a line of people already at the door. So this is going to be interesting. I have my mask ready to go. And let's see how we go. So I will be making a video which will come out in a couple of days with today's grocery haul. So that was pretty much our eat everything out of the freezer July in a nutshell. If you enjoyed today's video, if you would like to see more videos like this, if you would like me to do more challenge videos, if you've seen somebody else do a challenge video and you would like an Australian take on it, or you'd like to see me do one, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. What sort of videos would you like to see from us in the future? What would you like to see my family tackle? I'm always interested to hear the ideas from you guys and come up with some new content. So if you enjoyed today's video, if you could please give it a thumbs up, I really would appreciate that, and it does let me know what kind of content you guys are enjoying. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified of my new videos when they come out. I do have heaps of new content in the works for you guys, and I am excited to share our upcoming journey with you as we continue to budget better, save as much as we can, and still have heaps of frugal fun along the way. Well, I'm going to head into Aldi and try to tackle the crowds while keeping 1.5 meters distance between everybody. This should be interesting because I've been watching a line of people go in. But it is what it is. I hope you guys are well and safe wherever you are. I know that these are really difficult times and people are really struggling. So my heart goes out to everybody who is really struggling at the moment. And that can take on many different forms. But if we all stick together, if we all do the right thing, if we all follow the directives and the mandates, then I really hope that we can beat this as a community and get back to some normalcy on the other side of this. Stay safe, my friends, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.